Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to WhatsMap, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Well, it's Monday. We are back to the top of the workshop looking at the most popular maps of the moment. And this one is so good. It's so good. It's a creator we've done once in the past, back in episode 717. They got 13 stars on that occasion, and you are not going to be disappointed today. It probably deserves more than I'm going to give it as well. Honestly, the things I'm marking this map down on are incredibly picky. But you know I'm going to be, because I have to be. I have to try and show some sort of consistency to the very top creators. Still, I think you're gonna like today's map. Because it's so good. It's so good. Oh, thank you very much for your support. Today's map is Ankasia by Ostev. Yes, the previous map was a map called Shikagi. And if you remember Shikagi, I love that one as well. This one's just so lovely. There's your start square. We've got a highway coming in, another highway ending on the far right. So you can merge those two in together and have good traffic running through your city. Terrain heights, it feels like a terrain party map. I don't know if it is, but it really does feel that it's taken from a height map. The resources are intricate and busy, and I love them. And even with the fishing, which I'm not really interested in, I think that looks pretty usable as well if you've got Sunset Harbour. Off to the workshop. Now, you will need mass transit for this one, so that's your DLC sorted out. There's a list of visual guides in terms of unlimited trees, vanilla tree replacer, road colours changer, and the theme mixer. A whole bunch of different themes, mainly based around the Laviante 2.0 mod, but also a few others mixed in there. I've had to make so many visual changes. I still haven't quite matched up with the screenshots, but they are relatively close. I think most of it is down to I don't have the fog on to give you guys a better view. Here's all the things to subscribe to. Some of them I would say aren't strictly requirements, like arguments would say move it. It's not strictly a requirement, but of course you're going to be using it. And we'll be using the the real neutral relight neutral, or hang on, someone, it's in the description when you go and load it. It's there. Yeah, it looks and feels really good. So many different settings that you require to set up this map to have it looking as the creator would like you to have it. My minogram will start number one. Minogram, not marking the map down on this one. You can just see the draw distance on the roads where the colour changer just kicks in a little bit within sight for my particular liking. It's minor stuff, and I'm not marking it down for that. And all the bridges and all the crossovers and all the intersections are really nice today. The highway layouts are not overly convoluted at all. I mean, some people might say there's too many. There's not. There's just not. Shut up. Okay, just shut up. It's just really very nice indeed. And even when we get to the rail, I think the rail is something that you're going to say, yeah, I'll have that. We got the first one, which is a nice elevated intersection here, and it just from any angle it looks really very nice indeed. We'll head on over underneath the rail there. We'll check the rail out soon enough. Oh, the assets today as well. We've got some like another. I'll show you a couple of intersections as we're going along. Today's assets of the day. Oh God, today's is a good show. Today's is a very good show. Speaking of good shows, whilst I have your attention, I don't know if you noticed, last night I uploaded the annual. It's becoming an annual thing, so there'll probably be another one along next year. Top 10 mods. Yep, the top 10 mods of the year video. Always my most popular video of the year. So I'll link that into the top right hand corner of your screen, hopefully now, if I remember. If not, it will be at the end of today's show in the closing credits. And yep, I spent a lot of time agonising over this year's one. I did turn to you guys and through social medias and asked you for your feedback. We got feedback last year, another slick intersection going on here. And your feedback was invaluable, and always adds a few more mods that I wouldn't have normally have considered. Where are we going now? Well, we're heading down towards the start square. We'll get to the start square in a minute, no doubt. It's just such a fun drive, and the aesthetics. Look at the aesthetics. Oh, such nice aesthetics. Anyway, yes, so do check that one out. It's not just the top 10. I've actually got an essential list of 56 mods in this year's show. You don't obviously have to have all of them, but so I spent about 15 seconds just giving you a brief overview of what each mod does, and then you can decide whether or not that's the mod for you. And of course they are, they're all linked into the description. Anyway, that's a little plug for my show, which you're probably going to watch anyway, one way or another. Hopefully you'll all be there. Right, okay, we're down into the start square. And the Sting's going to jump in and sting me before I can get the camera up into the air. So let's zoom down and have a look, shall we? Today we have the European W2W pack by iTortilla 01. There you go. I'll get the words out. Just a pack. This is a set of buildings they built for, I think it was Cities XL, and then they've transferred it across. So it's all their own work, and these buildings really do deserve to be in Cities Skylines because they are so good. They're so good. Today's show is just so good. Apart from the presenter. The presenter's rubbish. Okay, right. To factoids, because factoids. On today's date, the 25th of May in 1898, the world heavyweight boxing champion Gene Tunney was born. He was not only very successfully defending his title on 3 occasions, but he then went on to lecture Shakespeare at the prestigious Yale University later in his life. So he was a bit of a knockout professor, I would suggest. Knockout professor. Never mind. Okay, so yeah, the European W2W pack by iTortilla. iTortilla? Yeah, the Spanish. It's even English. Tortilla's English, isn't it? Today's asset for the day. The asset of the day. Pack asset pack. Yeah, it's a one click. Okay, right, back down to the highways, and we'll speed up a little bit now because we will be here all day. So just take in the terrain work. Loving this cutting here. Cutting's very nice, and then we'll have some just smooth transitions through the environment. I'm going to follow this along to the edge of the map, and then we'll jump onto the rail. Little elevated section here, and it all feels natural as well. It all feels natural. Now, there's one thing that normally I'm quite critical on with creators, and today's creator, Ostev, does something that normally I would mark down on, but it works with them. I don't know what it is they've done that's different, but maybe it's just the theme. I don't freaking know. But you know, with the elevated roads going through cuttings, and the same goes for the rail through elevated going through a cutting doesn't really feel that it works. And there's a couple of occasions here we just skip past bit with the roads where it cuts through a shallow cutting. Perhaps it's because it's shallow, it kind of gets away with it, I suppose. But it actually worked. And we're just going to spy a little bit of that with the rail in a minute as well. We're kind of, heading off towards the fog now. So let's skip across. We've got some rail here we can follow. The rail is very smooth. There's no real obvious eyesore elevation changes. It doesn't have any uppy downies. Here we go. Here's a cutting. And if you have a look here, we've got it's an elevated rail line. Do you know what? It just looks like it works. I do not know. Normally, that is a mutter. It wouldn't be anything to get marked down on one little bit like that, probably. But definitely not getting marked down today on that one. There are a couple of things on today's map. A couple of things. And again, for me, if you ask me, if I was watching this as a viewer and I had to vote on this map at the end of the show, like you guys do, this is a 5-star map. This is a 5-star map. The stuff I'm going to be marking it down on will be really petty minor grumbles, but only because it's down to me to just hopefully squeeze a little bit more quality out of the very top creators. Not just Ostev, because I mean they've done a cracking job. I mean I couldn't do this. I like to think I'm a reasonable map maker, but this is visionary beyond what I can achieve. But yes, if there are any budding new creators as well, I mean we've got a lot of viewers, well a few hundred viewers, I don't know, a dozen views. Well, okay, I'm watching the same thing over and over and over again to get the views up, I know. Didn't you know it as well? But yeah, if there's any of you out there that are watching this, the things that I point out will hopefully be things that you will look to try and avoid in your own maps. Like, here we go. Tiny little mine. If this is the only detailing issue with catenary portals standing in the lines, if that's the only detailing issue, this still gets 5 stars. I'm just saying it, okay? And we probably could turn the blind eye to a second occasion, maybe, but that would be pushing it. Okay, if we see another one of those, then we're right on the edge of. In fact, technically speaking, I normally let one minor thing through. Would I let 2 of those through? I don't know. Maybe. Fortunately, it doesn't become an issue for me. We'll get to that though. Right, heading down to Start Square-ish area. This is just outside the Start Square. You can see the buildings off on the right-hand side there. So we just bypassed the Start Square with the rail. But you can buy into this really quickly. I mean, it's going to be a second or third tile. There you go. We've got another catenary clipping there. Still 5 stars for detail, but I promise you, I will find it, and I will hunt it down. I will mark it down. But anyway, yes, looks. I'm being petty. You know it, and I know it. But it's kind of my self-appointed job to be petty. I love it. Anyway, we'll take that intermission, brand new intermission for you today for an old show.
Who is the mysterious modder? Perhaps the greatest modder of them all. Why the heck are they named after a flightless bird? Find out more when BonBonB met Bloody Penguin and Skylines talk now.
He was a great guy. Bloody Penguin still is a great guy. Don't have any contact with him now, but he's came on the show and we had a good old chat and it was great. So you should definitely watch that if you've not seen it. We have got shipping routes and they are all good. If you have a look here, we've got this loop around and then it loops back down to the edge of the map down here. And all the curves are really nice, but I know you might be looking and going, hang on a second. What about these tails over here? What if a ship comes down this way? Would it go all the way up or would it come down that? Well, it would come down to the edge of the map. It wouldn't go around this way because it's the longer route. That is excellent work indeed. Water flow. Well, we have a reservoir leading into a dam, leading into another reservoir, leading into a dam, leading into another reservoir, leading into a dam, leading into a river. That is just so realistic. And those don't look too close together. A little bit of glitchy water there. Am I marking it down for the glitchy water? Well, you can see the water that's pour out into the ocean. So that's something. Have a look over here. We've got a water spawn point. That's probably helping for the Sunset Harbour fishing issues. Right, so I let the game run a little bit longer. This map took a bit longer for the water to settle down. But you'll see here that slowly but surely that is actually filling up. And when I clip across in a second, that actually stays static at about this kind of level. So it was good water flow in the end. It just, sometimes you have to let a map settle down. And settle down now. Now look at the detailing on this map with the trees and the resource painting, just to bring in the tones along here where you see it looks like we've got water erosion in certain areas and not. It's just so very nicely done. Doesn't quite match up with the colours on the screenshots. I think it's probably, again, partly because of the fog, which isn't switched on, which will give it more of a hazy look. Nice little settlement going on here. I can't really say too much about it because it's just... and of course with the vanilla tree remover, which is what they've requested for this map, it all looks good. And I just like the little bit of rough land on the back there as well. There's so much to see on this map. And we're going to miss stuff. We're almost certainly going to miss stuff. All right, now, we'll have a look down here at these marshy type areas. And yes, we've got a lot of trees stood in water. Now, I don't really mind this too much, although they're not strictly marsh trees. In terms of this is static water, I don't mind that as detailing for a marshy area. It just works. It just works. So I'm okay with that. And then down here we've got a water spawn area, and again that's fairly static water. It's when you've got moving water and you've got trees in the water that I think there's more of a problem. But if we follow this this bay up and out, we will see some really lovely tree detailing right up to the edge of the water around here, and that is superb work. And again over there, it's just back far enough to allow for a little bit of muddy land from the bay, and again I'm 100% buying into it. Got another deep bay there as well, and here down at the start square, actually we'll have a look at the water's edge in a moment. You can see here we've got the two highways ending up in the start square, which are two separate tiles. So you can buy into one, then buy into the other. Just make sure you get a good traffic flow running from one to the other. You could end up with all sorts of problems otherwise. Down here again, we've got saltwater areas, so the trees are back and away from the water's edge, which just goes to show that they know what they're doing. Which makes me then say that this has to be an error. We've got a whole batch, a whole gaggle of drowned trees right there. And again, right here, where we've got water flow and we have got salt water. And that is that's settled down, that water. I've given that a long time. It's not changing at all. So for me, that is a minor problem. And definitely needs mentioning. Loving the hills. I love it. Loving this, loving that, loving the other. Look at the cliff work. Look at the theme mix. Getting the theme mix just right. Getting the cliff work just right. Getting the tree placement on the hills just right down here. Look at the tree placement. This just looks like, well, it doesn't look like it. It has had a lot of time spent on it. Not a little bit, a lot of bit of time spent on it. Little castle down here, for me it's a little bit more fun, this castle, because I don't really buy into the standing stones as a little pathway, but why not? Why not? I also don't hate it. It's fine. It's just a bit of fun, that one. That's all cool. Right, now what else haven't we had a look at? We've been out into the hills, we've had a look at the build plan. Like the shapes of the islands. Look at the shapes of the islands. Completely believable. Different various shapes of islands. Got a little bit of an essential lighthouse down here as well, and they've resisted the temptation to put a beached ship right next to it as well, which I really appreciate. So many times we see that. Now Bonbon Island, this is unusual. I like this enough to say this is a Bonbon Island. I do have a little bit of a minor problem with it. It's a bit too big for my liking, but I would settle my house right here, okay, amongst these hills, and then at the other end of this long island, because I like you guys. I like you guys. Most of you. Well, maybe not you. You can go and sit in the corner. But I would have a little resort up here for you guys to come and basically enjoy the little saltwater bay there, saltwater pool, sorry. And I think we could have a good time. So long as you don't come up the island, so long as you don't come past, say this hill here, that's the borderline. I'm going to put a big fence there. Big fence there. But yes, I like that. That's a Bonbon Island. I really like it. So anyway, we've seen some really interesting shaped islands. We've got little fisheries, or are they salt areas? I'm not quite sure whether these are fisheries or salt mining areas, but one way or another, it's good work. We've got some more really interesting shaped islands here, which then leads me to this. Okay, an almost perfectly round island, and another almost perfectly round island, and another almost perfectly round island. Squidgy. And then an almost perfectly round island, another almost perfectly round island, another round island, another round island, another round island, another perfectly round island. They're all perfectly round islands. That's slightly egg-shaped. That's a bit squished, that one. So yeah, there you go. There's a slight exception to the rule. It's nearly round though. This one looks more like a teardrop, which is fair enough, really, considering we're seeing all these round islands. Makes me feel a little bit like this. Just a little bit. Honestly, I wouldn't really have any problems with this, but I would prefer if they were slightly more variant in shapes. Because the rest of the map, look at the islands of the rest of the map. Yeah, minor grumble, very minor grumble. I'd probably, if I was buying this map, I'd just level that out. I'd get rid of them. Anyway, what do you think of this map? Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. It's going to be a tough month, I think. It's going to be a very tough month. Aesthetically, it's glorious. I love it. It's glorious. I was thinking 5 stars. But those round islands I just don't really buy into, so I'm going to go for the 4 stars. It's a really high 4 stars, as high as you can go on the 4-star rating before you flick into 5 stars. Detailing, really high standards. A lot of work's gone into this. Again, this is an exceptionally high 4-star map. Can't give it the 5 stars because we have some drowned trees which I don't think are meant to be drowned, and we've got a little bit of catenary clipping. Minor stuff there. Gameplay potential. Yeah, I've got to go 5 stars on this one. I love it. Absolutely love it. I would come back and play this one multiple times if only there was enough hours in the day. Ankasia by Ostev. Exactly the same ratings as for their last map, which proves they're a great creator and definitely deserves the BonBonB seal of approval. Wow. Just wow. We want more maps like that. If every creator was producing maps, I don't think there'd be no need for this show. Because we won't be rooting around for the best map for your next city build. We'll be just subscribed to a map and it's going to be really good. Yeah. If only they were all like that, which they're not, which is fine because, you know, there's very few creators that can do that. Very few. Very few of them are watching this right now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow, and here's a link to your top 10 mods video.